Hey, this is a short video about fourths voicings. So the simplest way to make fourths voicings is to use entirely diatonic notes from a single key or mode. This example is using F Dorian, and we're making the fourths by simply starting on the melody and doing nothing but diatonic fourths downward, or starting on the bass note and doing nothing but diatonic fourths upward. When you do this, some of your voicings will end up being all perfect fourths, and some of them will contain tritones that are more dissonant because there's a tritone in the major scale, and that's going to be present in any of the modes as well. So this is sometimes called pan-diatonic voicing. You're simply moving around a structure through using only diatonic notes, and you're not really concerned with necessarily giving it a chord symbol. It's more like you're just expressing the mode in varying degrees of resolution or dissonance with the various fourths voicing generated by this technique. It's a way to sort of create an open sort of floating sound to accompany a melody or a soloist. Now notice in this example the voicings have their own sort of counter melody, which is the top voice. It's sort of, sometimes it's lining up with the rhythm of the existing melody, and sometimes it's filling in when there's gaps in the melody. So this is one common approach. You can also just literally harmonize a melody with fourths voicings as well. But this is more of an accompaniment type approach. And notice that there's an ostinato bass. These are four-part fourths, which are thicker sounding, but they're harder to play with just only one hand on the piano. This is the same thing with only three-part fourths. Same idea, but you just only use three notes. Here's the first one. And here's what it sounds like if it's just three-part fourths. Start here again. So this is the kind of thing you'd hear pianists or guitarists playing a lot, especially a piano player like McCoy Tyner. He pioneered this kind of approach in the late 50s, early 60s with John Coltrane and other artists, and on his own records. And this is a more playable form of the voicing, although these are quite playable on guitar because the guitar is tuned in fourths. Now your homework assignment well, going along with this is to create your own bass ostinato in the F Phrygian, create a bass ostinato in F Phrygian, then create some kind of effective series of fourths voicings that of course are all diatonically derived from F Phrygian. And a good way to do this is to think of a counter melody or counter rhythm to this. Here's our existing sound. So you might have something that goes like da, 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 or something. You think of some other rhythm that would go with that. Of course, I haven't written my bass line yet, but and then you transcribe that rhythm, and then you just create fourths voicings out of that. So for example, I'm just going to do the very beginning of this. The rhythm I was just singing was something like this. I'm just going to start with this note. I'm kind of picking this sort of randomly, but then I'll move it around if I, to adjust it later. Oops. So this is what I was sort of singing rhythmically there. And I think I'll tie it over. I'm just going to make it really simple for now. Okay, so that's not particularly active, it's not active at all in the second measure, but just making it simple for now. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm going back, and I'm building the fourths down from the melody. I could also be going up. If I was going up, it would be like this. But then they'd be kind of high. So I'm going down from the melody. Oops. So I'm basically choosing a note, and I'm going down a fourth from G, and I'm going down a fourth from D. Now I'm going to go down a fourth from F, and oops, that's a chord. That's an eighth note. I'm going to go down a fourth from F, and I'm going to go down a fourth from C. Now notice these are all diatonic notes. That's the key here. So it's actually quite easy to do. And here we go down a fourth from there. And now I have all my notes of my first phrase. And tie those over. So I have, oops, I'll have to fix that tie later. Oops. Okay. There we go. So I have this. Actually, I don't have these tied yet. Let me fix that. Okay, here we go. And then I could take the same idea and move it over here. But I'm just being pan-diatonic, so I don't necessarily have to worry about, I'm thinking more like melodically, really, because we're just creating this sort of general sound of fourths. So I might decide to just move these, up or down. Try it lower, try it higher, and see what that sounds like. Or I might decide to change the direction and have this one go up. Something like that. You get the idea? And then, of course, I haven't done my ostinato yet, but you know how to do that at this point. My ostinato doesn't necessarily, it could be the same rhythm as this, or it could be something different. I think I'll try something different. And I think I will make this be, I'll get rid of that, and I'll make this be a quarter note. And so it's not completely lining up with the rhythm of the chords, but that's okay then. So I've got my character note in there. And I might then put in more rhythm here, because to make it more interesting, because there's not that much going on in this measure here. So now I have this. Okay, you get the idea. All right, so do your own, have fun on your own with this concept.